So welcome to University of Iowa softball and Big Ten softball on Hawkeye Radio Network YouTube channel. This weekend also on BTN Plus. I'm Jerry Kawada. We got game number 2 of the 4-game series between the Iowa Hawkeyes and the Nebraska Cornhuskers at Bob Pearl Field. Game 1 yesterday afternoon was won by the Iowa Hawkeyes. They scored a single run in the bottom of the 3rd inning. There was back-to-back triples by Arely Bogar and then Brody Klosterman that brought in Arely in the bottom of the 3rd inning as the lone run would stand up through 7 at-bats of Nebraska and the Cornhuskers, and they did put some pressure on the Hawk defense, but the Hawk defense and pitching came through with the win. Allison Ducey pitched a complete game. 7 innings, 1 hit she gave up. She did walk a couple batters and struck out 6 in the contest and throwing just 80 pitches. So it was really an efficient effort by her as well as getting good defense behind her. In the game, Brody was 2 for 3. Riley Sheehy was 2 for 3 as well. And Nia Carter and Arely Bogar both with a hit. 6 total hits for the Hawks in the game. For the Nebraska Cornhuskers, the lone hit came from Caitlin Neal, who singled. Olivia Farrell went 6 innings for the Nebraska Cornhuskers. She gave up 6 hits. And the run, it was earned, of course, on the back-to-back triples. She struck out 3 batters. So we come into game number 2 of the 4-game series. And interesting, in the Big Ten standings, Iowa now has moved into 5th place by itself and only 1 game, actually a half game, behind the University of Illinois in the Big Ten standings. Out of 4th place, Northwestern 3rd, Minnesota 2nd, Michigan is in 1st place after beating Minnesota last night by the score of 3-0. But Ohio State bombed Illinois twice yesterday, 12-0 and 5-1. Illinois is the Hawkeyes' next opponent next weekend right here at Bob Pearl Field. But 3 more games with the Nebraska Cornhuskers coming up. Need these 3 games to move forward. There is no Big Ten tournament, but there is an NCAA tournament. It'll be a regional tournament, and Iowa, from what I understand from this morning, is that the top 4 teams from the Big Ten will go to the 48-team tournament, but that isn't quite assured, but that's kind of the conversation that has been sent along to the coaches at the top 4 teams. So if Iowa can take care of business today in a doubleheader, tomorrow in a single game to finish the series with the Nebraska Cornhuskers, and then face Illinois next weekend and a chance to be an at-large bid for the NCAA tournament would certainly be in their favor. But we do have this game to play here today. It's the first of a doubleheader. I had a chance to talk with head coach Renee Gillespie prior to the game. Getting ready for game number 2 of the 4-game series between the Iowa Hawkeyes and the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Hawkeye head coach Renee Gillespie standing by. And coach, who would ever thought that a 1-run scored in the 3rd inning yesterday would have stood up for a win?
Yeah, that was a little nerving as us for coaches, but we really realized that Ducey just had the handle on it on the mound. She was really taking charge of the game, and we wish we had that 1 hit in the outfield that got away from us for her no-hitter, but she was strong on the mound and kept us in that game, and that's what one run will do that.
Interesting that Brody Klosterman's really come on here. She's the co-freshman of the week, of course, with her counterpart in Kayla and Kinney, but she's really come on strong here. And once you inserted her into the into the leadoff position, she's really excelled.
Yes, she has. I mean, it's exciting. She was kind of in that position in high school, and it was a natural position for her to be in now for us. And she just proved herself in that position, being able to get on. Her on-base percentage is one of the highest on the team right now. She's smart at the plate. She knows what pitches she's looking for. She knows they're going to be throwing her in or out. And she's just looking for something elevated, something she can drive. And she's really done a great job of just being focused and really disciplined at the plate.
There's a 1-0 score showed this team about really, taking care of the opportunities that you'd mentioned here moments ago, but just the idea that it could end that way or it could be a 6-1 game.
Yeah, I mean, you never want to go into the 7th inning, with just 1 run on the board, and you saw that yesterday with Nebraska. They came back, had a runner in scoring position, had an opportunity to tie it up in that 7th inning. So, you want to have some cushion. You want to be able to have that cushion early on. Unfortunately, we didn't have that happen. We left a few people on base in critical situations, and But we did a great job, like you said, with Ducey on the mound. Defense was strong behind her, and we were able to keep that one run.
I really like this defense. They're coming along strong, but they've been pretty steady all season long. And I think, Grace Baines at shortstop has, I think, helped elevate everybody around her. But then, you take a look at Sammy at third, and even Airly at second base for the veteran that she is, and then Denali at first. You can't expect those kids really to play the way that they are, but they do have a lot of experience, and they are playing well.
Yeah, they are playing so well right now. And you look at the numbers and the names that you just spoke about. Three of the four are actually freshmen, and behind the plate, with Peak behind the plate as a freshman. So it's a very young team, but they develop so well. They're really focused on being better each and every game, and you're seeing that defensively. They really support their senior pitchers, and they want them to be able to go far this year.
So let's talk about Allison. It seems like it's taken her a little while to get into rhythm, and maybe it was the two games last weekend, the 5-inning games that she threw against Rutgers, that really has helped her pick up her game here even in her senior year.
It has. I think it was probably 2 weeks ago. We had a rough outing against Wisconsin, and she just kind of focused on what we needed to do, how to get her back on the mound, how to be that strikeout pitcher again. And she worked really hard the last couple of weeks to get back to where she felt confident and really commanding the game. She's just done a wonderful job of wanting to finish strong, and she's done that.
That incentive for this softball team, knowing that winning is going to take care of the rest of the season.
That's exactly right. Our goals right now, the girls' all focus is being able to get that postseason bid, and these next 7 games are going to be huge for us to be able to get that opportunity.
Okay. Lenny Milkowski with our national anthem to begin this game number 2 of these 4-game series between the Hawks and the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Nebraska, with the loss yesterday, does fall to 20-17. Now they are half game behind the Hawks and in 6th place in the Big Ten. Lauren Shaw will be in the circle for the Hawkeyes today. The lefty last started in the second game of the doubleheader last weekend. She went 7 innings, gave up 4 hits, 2 runs, neither were earned. She struck out 4 and has walked few batters. She really has done a nice job in the circle of not walking batters when she's out either as a starter or in relief. So this will be her 11th game started for Lauren. She has a 7-3 record. She has 4 complete games on the season, 76 2/3 innings she has tossed, 80 hits, 31 runs, 22 of them earned, has walked a total of 14 batters, which is very good, not even close to 1 per inning. Well, about every 3 innings, 1 every 4 innings. And she has struck out 44. Her 2.01 ERA makes her the number 9 pitcher individually in the Big Ten Conference with a 7-3 record. Alex Duraco of Michigan with a .59 ERA at 18-2 with 119 innings pitched. So we're ready to go here, and for the Nebraska Cornhuskers, it'll be Billy Andrews to start things off for Nebraska here at 11:30 start time. We've moved it up to this time with the anticipation of rain moving in later this afternoon. Want to get these games in before the rain arrived and did some scheduling foul-up along the way. We'll see about tomorrow's game when tomorrow arrives. I think the rain is supposed to stop later on tonight, early into tomorrow morning, given the grounds crew, and they've done a really magnificent job of getting this field ready to play. Give them a chance to get it ready to play for tomorrow. Here is the 0-1 to Billy Andrews. It's now 1 ball and 1 strike. That's down and away. Billy Andrews comes in with a 3.05 average. She was 3.10 coming into the series, and yesterday she was 0 for 2 with a walk and a strikeout. Here's the 1-1 from Lauren Shaw, the lefty from LaGrange, Ohio, down and away. Lauren trying to find where that strike zone is with this home plate umpire. Yesterday, that home plate umpire had a pretty wide strike zone Not as much high or low as it was wide if it was across the plate. Here's the 2-1 to Andrews, and it's called strike 2 on the inside corner. So Billy Andrews walks away from the plate here to gather herself. Andrews has started and played in every game this season for the Nebraska Cornhuskers, this being the 37th game. 36 hits, 118 at bats. She has scored 28 times. Here is the 2-2. Just off the plate, an off-speed pitch by Lauren Shaw. And you can hear already by the roar of the crowd that they thought that was a pitch that could have been called a strike. Again, a nice crowd on hand today. A little cooler than it was yesterday. Temperature in the middle 50s right now, lower to mid-50s. It'll warm up to right around 60 by mid-afternoon today. Here is the 3-2 that is called strike 3 right down the middle. So 2 off-speed pitches by Lauren Shaw. We'll get Billy Andrews looking. And for Lauren, again on the season, she has struck out 44 batters, so now make it 45. That's the first out of the inning. Kaylin Kinney now will step into the right-handed batter's box. Kaylin was the designated player yesterday, playing first base today and moved up in the batting order to the number 2 spot. In yesterday's outing, of course, there was only 1 hit for Nebraska. Here is the 1-0, a hard shot right down the inside part of the plate. Kaylin Kinney now even in the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. The freshman from Cedar Rapids. The 2019 Iowa Gatorade Player of the Year at Kennedy High School led Kennedy on to quite a season going. Batting behind Tristan Edwards, who is not in uniform nor even here this weekend. Here's the first pitch to her that's called strike 1. Ybarra, 282 hitter, the senior second baseman. Started and played in all 37 games, 33 hits, 117 at bats, 9 doubles and 4 home runs. And batting behind Tristan Edwards, teams were electing to pitch around Edwards, intentionally walking her to get to Cam Ybarra, and she's really kind of made him pay. Has done very well with her own hitting. Here's one that she hit out to left center field. It's going to drop in there for a hit. It's between Brody Klosterman and Riley Sheehy. Klosterman racing to get it, but not before Cam Ybarra can leg out a double. And she's on second base, so to bring up Courtney Wallace. Courtney Wallace will be pitching today and hitting for herself in the number 4 spot. A 215 hitter coming into the game and into this series. She has started 22 games, 27 appearances. Here is the first pitch to her. You can hear the effort put out there by Lauren Shaw. So it's ball 1. 1 ball and no strikes on Courtney Wallace, junior right-handed pitcher, right-handed hitter. Runner at second base, Cam Ybarra. 2 gone. Here's the 1-0, and it's fouled back out of play, so it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Wallace, 14 hits and 65 at-bats. Has a couple of doubles, a triple, and she has also popped a home run. 1 ball and 1 strike. Here's the pitch from the lefty Lauren Shaw. An off-speed pitch. Boy, she got Wallace out in front of that one. She was leaning forward, beginning to swing, then she had to hold up when she recognized it being an off-speed pitch. And by then, she lost all the rhythm in that swing. Couldn't connect, and now she's down on the count at a ball and 2 strikes. Iowa, and it's all black uniforms. Black Iowa lettering across the front. The numbers outlined by yellow. Here's another off-speed pitch. This one's off the plate, so it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Two-two count on Courtney Wallace, junior pitcher from Omaha. Here it is, the 2-2 from Lauren Shaw, one that Wallace will take a swing at, hit right off the end of the bat down the first base line, foul. Gives Denali Walker a chance to hustle around, pick it back up, and back to Lauren Shaw. 2-2 count again. Here's the pitch from Lauren Shaw to Courtney Wallace. A swing and a miss. 2 strikeouts in the inning for Lauren Shaw. And that's leaves a runner at second base in Cam Ybarra. So we'll go to the bottom of the first inning. It'll be Briley Klosterman, Riley Sheehy, and head coach Renee Gillespie mixing up the lineup a little bit. She's moved Nia Carter up to the number 3 spot. The way Klosterman and Sheehy have been hitting, and Nia Carter, with that ability to put those 3 back to back to back, things can happen on the base paths. Zeros as we head into the bottom of the first inning. Want to take the time to congratulate and welcome new University of Iowa President Dr. Barbara J. Wilson, who was a unanimous selection of the Board of Regents, State of Iowa, 10 days ago. She'll begin her term as the president, the 22nd president, on the 15th of July. She will be replacing Mr. Bruce Harold, who is retiring after 5 years on the job. Barbara J. Wilson was the Executive VP and VP for Academic Affairs for the University of Illinois system since 2016, but had been with the University of Illinois since the year 2000. So when she joined the 3 main campuses back in 2000, she had been promoted to various faculty roles before becoming the Executive Vice President and Vice President for Academic Affairs. She spent 3 years at Louisville prior to University of Illinois, a faculty member at the University of Cal in Santa Barbara for 12 years. She's from Appleton, Wisconsin. Dr. Barbara J. Wilson, the 22nd president of the University of Iowa, will begin her term on the 15th of July. Heading into now the bottom of the first inning, a long way to go in this one with another game this afternoon and a 4th game tomorrow. Hawks can't get too excited. Got to take them one batter at a time, one game at a time. And Briley Klosterman steps to the plate. Briley yesterday was 2 for 3. Got things started. Had a double in the 3rd inning. She had a single to begin her first at-bat. Back-to-back singles, had runners at first and second. Then a strikeout and then a pop fly out and a double play. Ended that first inning. Iowa able to get just 1 run through the game and win it 1-0. Briley coming into the game today, a .326 hitter. Raised her average 11 points from yesterday alone. She's really been coming on strong the last few games. Currently on an 8-game hitting streak. 7 of 8 games she's hit safely, but 7 of those games, 3 of them are multi-hit games. Count even at 1 ball and 1 strike against Courtney Wallace. Wallace is 9-7 on the year, making her 15th start and 23rd appearance. She's thrown 5 complete games, pitched 103 2/3 innings, given up 59 runs, 42 of them earned, 40 walks, 46 strikeouts for Courtney Wallace. And she's behind in the count at 3 balls and 1 strike to Briley Klosterman. Klosterman, again, started yesterday with a bash out to right center field. She doubled in her next at-bat and was stranded at second base, or tripled, and that's what scored Erily Bogar. Here's the 3-1. Courtney Wallace, nice hard-pitching right-hander. Full count now on Briley Klosterman, freshman from North Liberty, prepping at Iowa City Liberty High School, all-state career. Here's the 3-2 from Courtney Wallace, a pitch that is off the plate, and Briley Klosterman draws a walk. And for Briley on the season, that's the 12th time that she has been walked. She's at first base now, looking at head coach Renee Gillespie to figure out what they're going to do here as Riley Sheehy will come to the plate. Sheehy in yesterday's game was 2 for 3 as well. So they're on a little hot streak here, the top of that order. It's where things get moving. Put pressure on that defense. Here's the first pitch and a swing and a foul into the backstop. Riley Sheehy, the junior from Newtown, Pennsylvania. She on an 8-game hitting streak. 2 of those games multi-hit games. Both of them were 2-hit games. That dates all the way back, though, to the second game of the Minnesota series. So she's seeing the ball very well. Here she looks to bunt at it. Doesn't make contact, and it's called strike 2. Klosterman not on the move at the time. Certainly going to wait until that ball was put down on the bases or in the infield. So no balls and 2 strikes on the junior Riley Sheehy, left fielder. Started and played every game this season for the Hawks in left field. Here's the 0-2 that she lifts down the left field line and foul. Prior to the game, I stepped out onto the field and into the coach's box there at third base. When I talked to Renee Gillespie earlier this season, I'd asked her if she'd ever been hit by a foul ball in her decades of coaching. She said never. I'll tell you the rest of the story here shortly. Here's the 0-2 with Roddy Klosterman at first, and a pitch on the outside part of the plate that Roddy goes out just to get a piece of it and foul it down the left field line and out of play, just to hang in this at bat with an 0-2 count. I couldn't ever figure how, when you're really that close to home plate, somebody hits a rocket shot, a foul ball down that line, how you can't be hit by it at least one time in the many decades that she has coached, and she said she's never been hit. Here's the 0-2 again. This one hits her in the right arm. Pitch that was up and in on her. So that'll send Bridie Klosterman down to second base. And Riley Sheehy now is on first. Virtue of being hit by the pitch. That is the 5th time this season that Riley's been hit by a pitch. The last time she was hit by a pitch was in game number 1 against Rutgers. She had quite a series against the Rutgers Scarlet Knights, and now it's Nia Carter. Turned to bunt, pulled the bat back, and the pitch was up and away and bounced off of the catcher's glove, Annie Rayleigh, the junior, and that allows the runners to move up to second and third with nobody out and no force to play here on a ground ball in the infield for the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Riley Sheehy up to second base and Bridie Klosterman on to third. Nia Carter at the plate. Nia batting third in the lineup today. The sophomore at 267, 31 hits, 116 at-bats. Nia yesterday was 1 for 3. Here is the 1-0 that she swings at and misses, so it's a ball and a strike. Nia on a 4-game hitting streak coming into today's game. Has hit safely in 5 of the last 6 games, all singles, but safely. Here is the 1-1 that's off the plate. 2 balls and 1 strike. Wind pretty brisk now out of the east-northeast. And as the amateur meteorologist that I am, you know when that wind's coming out of the east-northeast, they've got moisture coming. Sucking that system this way. Here's one that she is a rocket shot right at second base. Cam Ybarra almost had to wake her up a little bit over there. She reached up and snagged it. You can see the smile on her face because it was a shot from off the bat of Nia Carter right at Ybarra at second place, and she was playing shallow between first and second, so we got there a little bit more quickly than usual. So 1 out in Iowa's bottom of the first inning, and it's Denali Lecker at the plate. Batting in the number 4 spot today. Denali leading this team in hitting. 327 coming into the series, 320 after yesterday's contest where she was 0 for 3 with a strikeout. Has started 31 of 35 games that she's played in. 32 hits, 100 at-bats, 8 doubles, 4 home runs. She's got teammates at second and third. Here's a pitch that's down and in, and 1 out. Bridie Klosterman at third, Riley Sheehy at second. Now, the Hawks had 2 runners on yesterday with nobody out, and were not able to get a run across in that first inning, which I think at the time had an effect on the rest of the game, even though Iowa ends up winning it 1-0. Here is the 2-0 to Denali, a pitch that was right in her hit zone. She gets around on it, but hits it fouled on the third base line. So it's a 2-ball and 1 strike count. Bottom of the first inning, scoreless between Iowa and Nebraska. Game number 2 of the 4-game series. Hawks take game 1, 1-0 yesterday on a one-hit output by Allison Ducey. Here is the 2-1 to Denali, well off the plate on the outside, so it's 3 balls and 1 strike. On deck is Kalena Burns. So we'll see if Courtney Wallace will put that ball in the hitting zone of Denali Lecker on this pitch, the freshman out of Ogden. Wallace gets the pitch signed from the dugout. Here's the 3-1 to Denali, an off-speed pitch. She gets around on it and hits it right down the third base line, but foul, had a rocket shot. So it makes the count full at 3 balls and 2 strikes. Denali's last RBIs came in game number 2 of the Rutgers series on a 3-run home run. She's got teammates at second and third. Here's a chance to add to that list. Here's the pitch off the plate. Ball 4. It'll load up the bases for the Hawkeyes here in the bottom of the first inning. Brings up Kalena Burns. And now the pitching coach for the Nebraska Cornhuskers is heading out to the circle. I talked about there is an NCAA softball tournament this year. 64 teams will be invited to it. The selections will be at 8 o'clock Iowa time next Sunday. That'll be after the Iowa-Illinois softball game next Sunday, which is scheduled for 3 o'clock next Sunday to be aired by the Big Ten Network. But Selection Sunday for the NCAA 64-team softball tournament is next Sunday night. Regionals will be Friday, May 21st, Saturday the 22nd, Sunday the 23rd. For those teams that do not have a no competition on Sunday policy, those that have the no competition on Sunday policy will play Thursday the 20th, Friday the 21st, and Saturday the 22nd. That won't affect the University of Iowa. So next Sunday night will be the Selection Sunday for the 64-team NCAA softball tournament. That's why these games are so very important to the University of Iowa. Winning will take care of everything. Kalena Burns steps to the plate, the number 5 hitter. The first pitch to her that she hits, and it's a rocket shot right at the first baseman, Kaylin Kinney. And she snags it out of the air and will step on first base to double off Denali Lecker. Just like yesterday with the hit that went out to left center field out there by Kalena Burns. And it was deep enough where Brody Klosterman thought that she was able to advance from second to third base and was thrown out at third base, and that ended the Iowa inning there. And with the bases loaded here, a line drive to the first baseman of Nebraska was the second out, and she stepped on first base for the third out. So the Hawks load them up, can't get a run across. We head into the top of the second inning, and scoreless between Iowa and Nebraska. For Nebraska, it is Peyton Huscroft that is playing first base as a designated player. Kaylin Kinney listed at first to begin with, and then they begin their shifting of players that they can do here in college softball. So we head into the top of the second inning. First game of this doubleheader between the Hawks and the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Lauren Shaw in the circle. Surrendered a double in the first at bat of Nebraska to Cam Ybarra. Here's one that's hit right back to her from Peyton Gladder. And one pitch and one out. Had a number of those yesterday to Allison Ducey, did Nebraska. Caitlin Neal now will come to the plate, the freshman center fielder. Neal coming into the game, a .227 hitter. This will be her 16th start, 26 appearances, 10 hits and 44 at-bats. Her extra base hits are a couple of doubles. Here is the first pitch to her that's called strike one in the outside corner. Caitlin Neal named the preseason Big Ten Newcomer of the Year by D1 Softball. Down on the count of no balls and one strike, an off-speed pitch. Lauren gets her to take a big whiff at it and misses. Don't suppose that Caitlin Neal has disappointed anybody, but there's a number of freshmen on the University of Iowa that have better numbers through the season at this point. No balls and two strikes. Lauren tried to get her to chase one off the plate on the outside, so it's 1 ball and 2 strikes on Caitlin Neal. Neal in yesterday's game batting in the number 8 spot, 1 for 2. She had the only hit that Nebraska had yesterday off of Allison Ducey, and she strikes out here in the top of the second inning. That is the 3rd strikeout recorded by Lauren Shaw. And 2 gone in the Nebraska top of the second inning. Abby Squire will come to the plate. Squire hitting the number 7 spot. Freshman, 143, 3 hits and 21 at bats. She does have an extra base hit as a double to her credit. Here's the first pitch to her that on the outside she'll foul it back behind the press box here. Again, it's cool today. Yesterday was in the middle 60s. Today we're not anticipating weather to at all get above 60. Still in the mid-50s right now. Here is the 0-1 that's lifted up in the infield, and racing down from the third base line is Sammy Diaz, and she makes the catch just a step inside the third base line, but halfway down for the 3rd out of the Nebraska top of the second inning. Head into the bottom of the second, it'll be Grace Baines, Marissa Peak, and Sammy Diaz, and play continues scoreless between the Hawks and the Nebraska Cornhuskers. So Nebraska in the number 6 spot in the Big Ten with a 20-17 record after yesterday's loss to the Iowa Hawkeyes. Iowa now at 21-16 and in 5th place by itself. Actually looking to sweep this series from here on out. Nebraska's been without its best player, Tristan Edwards, and 4 other seniors on this team. Apparently the result of some disciplinary action on them, and so they left them in Lincoln, Nebraska. And, you know, I was talking to head coach Renee Gillespie prior to the game. It's just that, you know, for as much fun as it's been watching this Iowa softball team develop and get to the point where they are, I was looking forward to watching Tristan Edwards play for Nebraska. So hopefully it's a definite learning lesson for her at this point. She's a 2-time all Big Ten and an All-American. Led the team in hitting. Just an outstanding softball player that, unfortunately, from a choice she made, has kept her away from Iowa City this weekend. Grace Baines steps to the plate. Baines, a freshman out of Kansas City, Kansas, starting her 36th game. Down on the count at no balls and 1 strike. Here is the 0-1 from Courtney Wallace. Baines gets around on and will rip it foul down the third base line. Grace with 19 hits and 103 at-bats. 0 for 1 yesterday with a strikeout. She struck out in the second inning to end that inning, and she flew out to, actually she was hit by a pitch. And then and was stranded at first base as Sammy Diaz would fly out. We're scoreless. We're in the bottom of the second inning. This is Grace Baines, the number 6 hitter in the Hawks lineup. Down on the count at no balls and 2 strikes to Courtney Wallace. Here's the pitch that she'll lift out into the outfield. It's going to be hauled in there by Caitlin Neal. Racing in from center field to catch it in shallow center. So it's the first out of the bottom of the second inning for the Hawks. Marissa Peak now at the plate, freshman out of Wentzville, Missouri. Peak in yesterday's game was 0 for 3. She grounded out twice and popped up to the first baseman. Here is the first pitch to her that's down and in. Peak with a .224 average, 19 hits and 85 at-bats, her 28th start and 30 appearances. She has 5 doubles and 3 home runs. Collecting one of those home runs, a 3-run home run in game number 1 against Rutgers a week ago. Here is the 1-0 to her that she'll bound foul just in front of the Hawkeye dugout. Has some pretty good pop in that bat. Can hit the long ball. She had 3 hits in the Rutgers series in 12 at-bats and 3 RBIs, all via a 3-run home run. Here's a pitch that bounces across the plate, so it's 2 balls and 1 strike. She also had a 2 RBI double in the 4th game against Rutgers a week ago and then would eventually score. So productive at the plate as a batter, also behind the plate as a catcher. Here's one that is just lightly batted off of the fist of the bat. Courtney Walls was able to get to it, and then she was unable to pick it up with the glove, and it rolled far enough away from her. It allowed Marissa Peak to get to first base on the error by Courtney Wallace. And so with 1 out, Marissa Peak on first base, virtue of an error by Courtney Wallace. And this will bring out the pitching coach again for the Nebraska Cornhuskers. He's having a chance to. So Zoe Schulte will come in and run for Marissa Peak. That's the 2nd error of the season committed by Courtney Wallace. So Zoe Schulte now is in to run for Marissa Peak in the bottom of the 2nd inning. Coach Renee Gillespie trying to put some pressure on this Nebraska defense. And Schulte's been very successful as a pinch runner. She has scored 12 runs, almost all of them exclusively as a pinch runner. She has started a few games. As we take a look at all the way in the Rutgers game, she pinch ran in 2 of those games, scored in the first game after pinch running for Denali Lecker. Here is the 0-1, now becomes no balls and 2 strikes on Sammy Diaz at the plate. So no balls and 2 strikes on the freshman Sammy Diaz. Here is the 0-2 that she'll hit. It's a ground ball over to second base. They're going to try to get the force at 2, and they do. What a play by Cam Ybarra. She went to her left, and I think she was just judging, Zoe Schulte getting to second base. Thought she had a chance. She picks and rotates and makes the good throw over to Billy Andrews to get the force at second base, and Sammy Diaz on first now with a fielder's choice. Here is Arilee Bogar at the plate. Arilee yesterday tripled and would score on the triple by Brody Klosterman. That was her first at bat, so she was 1 for 2 yesterday, is Arilee, and scored that run. Here is the 0-1, and now no balls and 2 strikes with the foul back into the backstop. Arilee 11 hits in 64 at-bats. She continues to inch her batting average now up to 172. She has a double and a couple of triples and a home run, and the home run a grand slam home run in Game 1 of the Rutgers series a week ago. Here's one that she lifts out to the left field, and giving chase out there is Abby Squire, but not able to come up with it. It goes foul, so Arely Bogar will remain at the plate with a no ball and 2-strike count on her. Arely had 3 hits in the Rutgers series a week ago. 3 hits in 5 at-bats. But the big blow is that grand slam home run she hit in game number 1 to give the Hawks the lift to the win. Here's one that she'll dribble down the first base line. Picked up over there by Huscroft, and that will end the Hawks here in the bottom of the 2nd inning. Well, Iowa does get a couple of runners on, not at the same time, but can't move them forward. And we'll end the bottom of the 2nd inning with no score. Scoreless heading into the top of the 3rd between Nebraska and the University of Iowa at Bob Pearl Field on the campus of the University of Iowa. In college baseball yesterday, the Hawkeyes defeated Penn State 4-2. Moved their record to 20-13 overall. They are playing in a doubleheader as I speak to you. Again, because of the impending rainfall coming forward, they moved their games up from this afternoon to a doubleheader this morning and this afternoon. So they're in action at this time against Penn State, and it is a doubleheader today, 11:05 and 3:05 they're anticipating. They'll get the first game in. We'll see how far they get through that second game before the rain arrives. And currently the Hawks are leading Penn State 3-0 in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Hawk baseball moved them up to 4th place in the standings. The win yesterday just keeps surging ahead. Lauren Shaw in the circle for the Hawks here as we begin the top of the 3rd inning. And it's Peyton Huscroft at the plate. The number 8 hitter, Sammy Diaz. 1 pitch and a ground ball to her that she'll pick and fire across the diamond to Denali Lecker. And it'll bring up the number 9 hitter, and Annie Rayleigh, junior catcher, catching today. This will be her 18th start at catching. Here is the first pitch to her that she'll dribble it right to Lauren Shaw. Real light hopper that Lauren will scoot forward, pick up, and throw out to Denali Lecker at first base. So we go to the top of the order. It's Billy Andrews. Hawks, again, have done a nice job in keeping her off the base paths, because she certainly can cause a lot of damage to defenses with her ability. Running the bases. In the Maryland series last weekend, she went 6 for 11. She had 3 home runs and 6 runs batted in. She named the Big Ten Co-Freshman of the Week, along with Iowa's Briley Klosterman. And the first pitch to Billy is outside, so it's a ball and no strike. She struck out in her first at-bat. Lauren Shaw fooled her on a couple of pitches. See if Lauren can get the same result in this at-bat. Andrews at .305 on the season, 36 hits, 118 at-bats. Here's one that's a one-hopper. It skips right to Grace Baines. She had a chance to make a play on it. It was a high hopper to her, and then she had to play the short hop. She got in front of it, and the ball took that short bounce right off the heel of her glove, off of her left shoulder and in front of her. And that's just not enough time to get Billy Andrews at first base. So the error on Grace Baines will put Billy Andrews at first. Definite base stealing threat, 10 of 13 on the season. We'll see how Marissa Peak is at the plate. Here's one that's hit right back up through the center, through the circle, that Lauren Shaw couldn't kick with her feet. It was just half a foot away from her, but as a rocket shot hit there by Kaylin Kinney. So Kinney is on base for the first time with a single. That moves Billy Andrews on to second base. There are 2 outs in Nebraska's top of the 3rd inning, and it's the number 3 hitter, Cam Ybarra, 282 hitter, doubled in her last at-bat. Here's a pitch that's called strike one in the outside corner. Ybarra with her 10th double of the season. In that last at-bat, she also has 4 home runs. Lauren going to have to be careful with Ybarra. No balls and 1 strike on Cam Ybarra, the senior, second baseman. Here is the pitch that's hit right out to Briley Klosterman and right at her. Briley had to backpedal a little bit, came in first, and then recognized that ball a little bit longer than she thought and had to backpedal to make the catch. That was into that stiff northeasterly wind, so it held it up a little bit. Ybarra got enough bat on it to send it out there, but taken care of by Briley Klosterman. So the Nebraska Cornhuskers get a couple of runs on, can't get them moved forward nor across the plate. Going into the bottom of the third inning, we're scoreless between Iowa and Nebraska. Briley Klosterman will lead it off for the Hawks. One play continues. Now in the top of the fourth inning, Iowa baseball leading Penn State 3-0. In other Iowa sports news, the men were the Big Ten champions. Actually, they were second in the Big Ten championships. Mac McClear, though, was the individual champion at a 100-215. He made the all-championship team. The Hawkeye men's golf team will be playing at the NCAA Regionals next weekend, the 17th through the 19th, at Clay Elam, Washington. Now, that is about an hour and a half east of Seattle, up in the mountains of the Cascades. So if the beautiful scenery is too distracting to them, might hamper what they do out there. But that's at Tumble Creek Golf and Country Club in Clay Elam, Washington. The NCAA Regionals, the University of Iowa men's golf team. Briley Klosterman steps into the left-handed batter's box, walked in her first at-bat back in the bottom of the first inning. Stranded at third base on the double play. Hawks had runners at second and third and nobody out in that bottom of the first. Here is the 1-0. Now becomes 1 ball and 1 strike to Briley. Had a terrific weekend at Rutgers last weekend, as we've noted. 5 hits, 13 at-bats, a couple of home runs, her first 2 of her Hawkeye career. Count even at 1 ball and 1 strike. From Courtney Wallace, here's one that she'll 2-hop, and she got the benefit of a great second hop. Is Billy Andrews, bounced right up to her. And that'll be the first out in the Hawks' third at-bat. Riley Sheehy now steps to the left-handed batter's box. She was hit by a pitch in her first at-bat. She and Briley Klosterman were at first and second, and then second and third, but unable to come across the plate for runs for the Hawks in that bottom of the first inning. Here is the first pitch to her that she'll bounce foul right at home plate. She'll return to the left-handed batter's box. Riley, after yesterday's game on an 8-game hitting streak, dates all the way back to game number 2 of the Minnesota series, when she singled. Had a couple hits in game 3 against Minnesota, and then a single hit in the fourth game, and then singles in the first 3 games of the Rutgers series. Here is one that she'll hit right at second base, and Cam Ybarra will take care of Riley Sheehy. So 2 ground outs for the Hawks in the bottom of the third inning. Nia Carter, batting in the 3 spot today, will step to the left-handed batter's box, and she popped up to Ybarra in her first at-bat. Back in the bottom of the first inning. Left-handed hitting Nia Carter. Looking out at Courtney Wallace. Carter, a .267 hitter. Here's the first pitch to her that's down and away. So it's ball 1. Carter began the year on a tear. 8 hit safely in 8 of the first 9 games she played in. 7 multi-hit games. And then it's kind of been quieted since that point. And then here's a pitch that she tries to slap bunt it and misses it. So it evens the count at a ball and a strike. She had a 6-game hitting streak, and then after the 6-game hitting streak from the last game of the Maryland series to the first game of the Indiana series, she went on a hitless streak of 9 games. That caused head coach Renee Gillespie to switch the batting order a little bit. Here's one that she lifts out into left center field. Will it drop in? It will not. Caught out there in left field by Abby Squires, and that will end the Hawks in the bottom of the 2nd inning. 3 up, 3 down. We're heading into the top of the 4th. And it'll be Nebraska's Courtney Wallace coming to the plate when play continues. The University of Iowa women's golf team finished 10th at the Big Ten tournament. Morgan Goldstein and Clara Wildhaber both tied for the 24th spot for the Hawkeye women's golf team that concluded at the Big Ten golf tournament. I want to go back to the men's golf. This is the 11th NCAA regional appearance for the Iowa men's golf team since 2009. So it's kind of becoming an annual event for them. They're playing at the Par 71 Tumble Creek Golf and Country Club. It's a Par 71, 7,122 yards in length. The Clay Elam, Washington regional site is one of 6, excuse me. The Hawks are one of 51 at-large teams to be accepted there. That'll be a nice, boy, it's beautiful country out there. I just hope they don't get too distracted by the beautiful scenery. Congratulations to them, though. They've got a nice golf team, good program going. Lauren Shaw in the circle facing Courtney Wallace for the 2nd time. Struck her out at her first at-bat. Courtney, a .215 hitter, 14 hits, 66 at-bats. A couple of doubles, a triple, and she's hit a home run. Now it looks like a softball has trickled out onto the field. So they stop play and retrieve it, put it in its proper place, and we'll get back to normal order. Courtney Wallace, junior out of Omaha. Up in the count at 1 ball and no strikes. Working against Lauren Shaw. Here's one that she hits a rocket out to right center field at the base of the wall. And the warning track, and it played nicely by Brodley Klosterman, able to wheel and get it turned back in. Wallace is already around first base, but the Hawks had a play on her at second base by Grace Baines, but Wallace dives in with the slide just ahead of the throw and is credited with a double here to start the top of the 4th inning. That the 3rd hit off of Lauren Shaw today. None of them have led to any runs. Here is the first pitch to Peyton Glatter. Glatter bounced one back to Lauren Shaw in the circle in her first at-bat. Sammy Diaz down the line at third base, but in about 2.5 strides. Denali Lecker down about 2 from first base. Grace Baines nearly right in the middle of second and third base, as is Arely Bogart between first and second. Here's one that's lifted down the left field line. It'll bounce foul. One of those really lightly hit balls that no one can get to, and everybody has to race to pick it up, and it can be damaging to a lot of defenses. But it goes foul, and so the count is now 1 ball and 1 strike. Nobody out, top of the 4th inning. Courtney Wallace just started off with a double for the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Here is the 1-1 that is now fouled down the left field line and out of play. A ball and 2 strikes on Peyton Glatter. Hitting .219, 16 hits in 74 at-bats. A couple of doubles. She also has hit 3 home runs, so certainly has distance in that bat. Here's the 1-2, one that she'll dribble right down the third base line. Diaz does a nice job to look back Wallace to second before firing over to first base to get Peyton Glatter. at first and one gone in Nebraska's top of the fourth inning. Caitlin Neal will step to the plate. Got the only hit in the game against Alice Aducey yesterday. Struck out in her first at-bat against Lauren Shaw. Teammate Courtney Wallace at second. Here's the first pitch from Lauren Shaw, a pitch that is just off the plate to the left-handed hitting Caitlin Neal. Neal batting at .227, 16 games started out of 26 played, 10 hits and now 45 at-bats. She with a couple of doubles for her extra base hits. Here's one that she'll just slap right to Lauren Shaw. Nobody at third base to cover as Lauren looks there and turns and goes right to first base. Still got the out, and it does move Courtney Wallace to third base. Abby Squire now will come to the right-handed batter's box. Squire yesterday 0 for 3. Popped up to Sammy Diaz in her first at-bat. Here's the first pitch from Lauren Shaw. It's a pitch that's down and away to Abby Squire. Squire ahead in the count at 1 ball and no strikes. 2 outs, top of the fourth inning. Courtney Wallace at third base for Nebraska. Here is the 1-0. That's now 2 balls and no strikes. A pitch that looked to be right on that inside corner. But the umpire says no, and it's 2 balls and no strikes. Squire batting .143 coming into this softball game. Here's the 2-0, hits that inside corner, so now it's 2 balls and 1 strike. Squire taking all the way, going to make Lauren Shaw throw a strike. Here's the 2-1, an off-speed pitch, hits right across that plate. Nice off-speed pitch by Lauren Shaw to freeze Squire at the plate. Can't get that bat off the shoulder. Those arms are locked into place. So it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Courtney Wallace on third base, 2 gone. Here comes the 2-2 from Lauren Shaw. Pitch that is down and in. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Lauren did pitch twice against Rutgers last week. Again, she started the third game, went 7 innings, complete game. She also pitched in game number 1, where she threw 2 innings. Here's the full count pitch that's lifted down the right field line and foul. Another off-speed pitch by Lauren. Pitched in the Friday game 2 2/3 innings. Gave up 5 hits, 3 runs. Both of them were earned. Did walk 1, gave up a double. That was a wild first game between Rutgers and Iowa. Ended up with Iowa winning it 11-8. Sarah Lehman started in the circle for the Hawks then. Here's the 3-2 again from Lauren Shaw. One is hit right between Denali Lecker and Airlie Bogar. And Courtney Wallace is going to score from third base. And in Nia Carter fashion, she raced to get that ball because it was a line drive shot right at her. She was able to pick it up and almost get Abby Squire at first base with the throw from right field to Denali Lecker, but not quite in time. Courtney Wallace will score, and that gives Nebraska the 1-0 lead. Peyton Huscroft now at the plate, the left-hander. Grounded out to Sammy Diaz in her first at-bat. Huscroft had only 1 other official at-bat on the season. Down on the count at no balls and a strike. Now it's 1 ball and 1 strike. It's just her first game started and 3rd appearance. Count even at ones. Here is the 1-1 now. It's 2 balls and 1 strike. 2 outs, top of the 4th inning. Nebraska got a leadoff double by Courtney Wallace. She moved to third. There were 2 outs. Abby Squire just singled her in. And Nebraska leads at 1-0. 2 balls and 1 strike on Peyton Huscroft with Squire at first base. Here is the 2-1 from Lauren Shaw. An off-speed pitch. What a pitch by Lauren Shaw. Boy, she's really got that arm wheel down to a science to fool those batters at the plate. when she takes something off that pitch. 2-2. Here's the pitch from Lauren Shaw, a pitch that's grounded right to Sammy Diaz. She tried to play the hop and went underneath her glove. And so an error is going to be issued to Sammy Diaz. Had a chance to field it, tried to play the hop, and it went off of her glove, under her glove, as she tried to scoop up. The ball didn't take that hop that she thought maybe it would. And so that puts runners at first and second for Nebraska. Huscroft at first. Abby Squire moves to second. Courtney Wallace has already scored for Nebraska. They lead at 1-0. We're just in the top of the fourth inning. And Annie Rayleigh, who bounced one back to Lauren Shaw in the circle in her first at-bat, will step into the right-handed batter's box. After her becomes Billy Andrews in the top of the order for Nebraska, if Rayleigh's able to do something with this at-bat. She got 275 hitter. Here is the first pitch to her. That's off the plate on the inside. Annie Rayleigh playing in her 27th game, her 18th start, 11 hits and 41 at-bats. A couple of doubles, a triple, and she has smacked a home run. Here is the 1-0 to her. She hits right through the circle. Lauren Shaw couldn't get her glove on it, and scoring from second base is Abby Squire. Moving to second base, Peyton Huscroft and Annie Rayleigh. Now, after the third hit of the inning for Nebraska will be at first base, Rick Dillinger now going to walk out to the circle and talk to Lauren Shaw and this defense. Nebraska up now 2-0. They've done this with 2 outs. They have runners at first and second, and Billy Andrews will step into the right-handed batter's box. Andrews ranks 4th in the Big Ten in runs and RBIs, and 10th in triples. Having quite a freshman season, she is. Out of Gretna, Nebraska. And now the home plate umpire will come out and break up the conversation in the circle. When play resumes, Nebraska will have runners at first and second, 2 outs, and the top of the order in Billy Andrews. She reached in her last at-bat due to error by Grace Baines. She was stranded at second base. That was back in the third inning, the previous at-bat. And she struck out on her first at-bat. So 1 for 2 today is Billy Andrews. Hawks did a number on her yesterday, keeping her off the base paths other than one time. She was 0 for 2 with a walk. She walked in her last at-bat and was stranded at first base. Here's the first pitch to her that's called strike 1. Lauren going right at her. That pitch right down the middle. So no balls and 1 strike. Tenuous situation here for the Hawk defense, down 2-0. Runners at first and second. Nebraska getting into a little bit of a hitting rhythm here. And the top of the order, and Billy Andrews at the plate. No balls and a strike. Here's the pitch from Lauren Shaw, one that is dribbled to Baines, and this one bounces off her glove. And I think the runner from second base, Peyton Huscroft, was just running by her as that ball was getting to her, so I think she kind of lost sight of it and was unable to play it. So that'll score Huscroft from second base. Billy Andrews will be on first base due to the error, and that moves Annie Rayleigh on to second. So the RBI for Billy Andrews on the error, it gives Nebraska now a 3-0 lead, and it's Kaylin Kinney. Singled in her last at-bat, ripped one right up through the center. Again, runners at first and second for Nebraska. Annie Rayleigh at second, Billy Andrews at first. Here's the first pitch to Kaylin Kinney's an off-speed pitch that is called strike 1. 3-0 Nebraska. No balls and a strike on Kaylin Kinney. 2 outs. Runners at first and second for Nebraska. Infield is playing at about normal level depth. Here's one that's bounced right back to Lauren Shaw. A good pitch that jammed Kaylin Kinney. She was trying to get around on it, got a small part of the bat on it, just lightly hit back to Lauren Shaw. But that ends Nebraska's top of the fourth inning. They score 3 runs on 3 hits. There were 2 Hawkeye errors. and now lead Iowa 3-0 heading into the bottom of the fourth inning. Denali Lecker will begin it for the Hawks when play continues. Update now for you from Iowa baseball. They've moved to the top of the fifth inning, the first game of a doubleheader today. It's Iowa 3, Penn State nothing. We're in the first game of a doubleheader here at Bob Pearl Field on the campus of the University of Iowa, and Nebraska. And Nebraska just putting 3 runs across in the top of the fourth inning, take a 3-0 lead into the bottom of the fourth. University of Iowa field hockey team was beaten in the NCAA Final Four yesterday in one of the semifinals, losing to top seeded number 1 ranked North Carolina 3-0. This is the 12th Final Four that the Hawkeye field hockey team has been to. The other semifinal was won by Michigan over Louisville 2-1, so North Carolina and Michigan will play one another for the field hockey, NCAA field hockey championship. But congratulations to Lisa Chalucci and that field hockey team from the University of Iowa making it to the Final Four. So the Hawks just have to chip away at this lead, but send batters to the plate. Denali Lecker will be the first one here in the bottom of the fourth inning. She walked and then was doubled off on the line drive by Kalena Burns back in the bottom of the first inning. Here is the first pitch to her that's down and in. Courtney Wallace, really a hard-throwing pitcher for the University of Nebraska. Wallace as a pitcher on the season is a 2.84 ERA. She the leading pitcher on this Nebraska team in innings pitched, 103 2/3. Olivia Farrell was just 2 innings pitched behind her at 101 2/3 yesterday. Farrell threw 6 innings yesterday. 1 ball, no strikes to Denali Lecker. Here's one that she'll hit off the fist of her bat. Picked up at third by Brooke Andrews and across the diamond to Peyton Huscroft. And that'll end Denali Lecker at bat in the bottom of the fourth inning. I'll bring up Kalena Burns. Kalena, line drive to first base in her first at bat. That ended in a double play as Denali Lecker straight off a little too far, couldn't get back to first base safely before they doubled her up. Kalena Burns looks at a pitch that's outside. Burns, the sophomore out of Corona, California, starting in her 24th game and 32nd played, has been very steady in starting since the Northwestern series. Up in the count of the ball and no strikes. Here's the 1-0 to her. Now is 1 ball and 1 strike. Burns 22 hits and 80 at bats, 4 doubles and 4 home runs on the season. Hit 2 of those home runs against Rutgers last weekend. When she had 5 hits in the weekend. And she's looking at a 3-0 pitch now coming up. We'll see if she'll have the green light, knowing that ball's probably going to be coming right down the middle, or if she'll make Courtney Wallace throw a strike. Wallace with the pitch sign from the dugout. Here's the windup and pitch. Hits the inside corner. 3 balls and 1 strike. Kalena Burns coming out of last year, 2020 season that ended abruptly with the pandemic, had a 9-game hitting streak going. It extended that to 11 in the first 2 games this year, having that snap then. Here's the pitch that she takes a good cut at and will miss, so that will make the count full at 3 balls and 2 strikes. She was on base back in the Minnesota Game 4 when Grace Baines hit the first home run of her Hawkeye career, a 2-run home run, that at the top of the 4th inning against Minnesota then. Here's one. It's a dribbler right to Brooke Andrews at third. She bobbles it, but able to pick it up right away and get Kalena Burns at first. So Grace Baines will now step into the right-handed batter's box. Freshman out of Kansas City, Kansas. Flew out to Caitlin Neal in center field in her first at-bat. Hawks down 3-0 here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Iowa currently being no-hit by Courtney Wallace. Here's the first pitch to her from Wallace, a pitch that's called strike 1. So no balls and 1 strike on Grace Baines. Has hit safely in 7 for her last 8 games, including yesterday, where she collected a hit. Pitch that's out and away, so it's 1 ball and 1 strike. She's hit safely in 20 of the 37 games that she's played. Here is the 1-1 to her that she'll rip down the third base line and foul. She got all of that one, got out ahead of it, pulled it fouled on the third base line. So she's down in the count at a ball and 2 strikes. Trina Prater coaching at first, head coach Renee Gillespie on the third base line. Grace Baines at the plate from Courtney Wallace. Here's the pitch that's up and away. Annie Rayleigh is catching for Ohio State, or for Nebraska. At third base is Brooke Andrews. Shortstop is Billy Andrews. Second base, Cam Ybarra. And at first base is Peyton Huscroft. Here is the pitch that's hit right up through the middle. Hit number 1 for the Hawks in this game. 2-out single for Grace Baines. Baines 0 for 2 yesterday, 0 for 1, and it was a strikeout. She was also hit by a pitch. So to bring up Marissa Peak, freshman out of Wentzville, Missouri. 2 gone. Grace Baines at first after just singling, and Marissa Peak, who reached on an error in her first at-bat, having a chance here to continue this inning. Here's one that she'll take a good cut at, an off-speed pitch by Courtney Wallace. Gets Peak out in front of it. Peak yesterday was 0 for 3, a couple of ground outs and a pop out. Had 2 hits in the series against Rutgers last weekend. Had a 3-run home run that she hit against Rutgers. Here's a pitch that, again, another off-speed pitch. She really takes a good cut at it, just can't make any contact. So down in the count at no balls and 2 strikes. Grace Baines at first, 2 gone. Bottom of the 4th inning, Iowa trails 3-0. Courtney Wallace now looking for the pitch signal. Here it comes. Here's one as she rockets right at Billy Andrews at shortstop. Tremendous line drive hit by Marissa Peak, but Billy Andrews was right there to haul it in. And that ends the Hawkeyes in the bottom of the 4th inning. They get a runner on. Can't move her forward, and we'll head into the top of the 5th inning. Nebraska leads at 3-0. It'll be Cam Ybarra when play continues. Here's some basketball news. Iowa basketball sensational freshman Caitlin Clark has been invited to the 2021 USA Under-19 World Cup team trials. That'll be next weekend, May 14th through the 16th, at Metro State University in Denver. 24 athletes will be competing for 12 spots on the team. Caitlin Clark was part of the 2019 USA Under-19 team that won gold in Japan. So congratulations to her and good luck to her. Also in men's basketball, Luka Garza and Jordan Bohannon were co-winners of the Chris Street Award. The Chris Street Award exemplifies awards players who best exemplify the spirit, enthusiasm, and intensity of Chris Street. Missed that young man. Such a tragic accident back in January of 1993 that took his life. So they continue to honor him with this Chris Street Award because of who Chris Street was, not only as a basketball player, but as an individual. So Cam Ybarra will step into the left-handed batter's box with Nebraska leading this game 3-0. Ybarra is 1 for 2. She doubled in her first at-bat. Here's one that she'll hit out to Nia Carter out in right field. Ybarra had to race down the first base line because Nia got to it quickly and had thoughts of getting her at first base. So Cam Ybarra, 2 for 3 on the day today, a double and a single. Sandwiched around a fly out to Brody Klosterman in center field. And it looks like the head coach for Nebraska, Rhonda Revelle, now is going to have a pinch runner for the Nebraska Cornhuskers. The ponytail is keeping me from figuring out who it is. I think it's number 14. And Camille Armendariz will be coming in running for Cam Ybarra. So Camille Armendariz pinch running for Cam Ybarra, who just singled here in the top of the 5th inning. Ybarra got into yesterday's game as a pinch runner as well. She came in and ran for Kaylin Kinney in the top of the 7th inning. Kinney had just walked. Armendariz got to second base, and that's where she was stranded on the fly out to Riley Sheehy and left to end the game. But with Nebraska leading here 3-0, now looking to add to that lead. Just got a single to lead it off from Cam Ybarra. Camille Armendariz now pinch running for her. Courtney Wallace will step to the plate. She pounded a double in her first at-bat, or her first at-bat and her last at-bat, and she scored on the single by Abby Squire, who would then score on the single by Annie Rayleigh. Peyton Hutchcraft would also score. And I just kind of stretched out that at-bat for Nebraska, got them their 3 runs. It's where we stand right now in the top of the 5th inning. So Courtney Wallace will step to the plate. Okay, so we've got some infield swapping going on for the University of Iowa. We'll get to those here in a minute. Here's Amber DeSena had one head to her now. So Ashley Hamilton is playing third base. So I'm assuming they're just going to assume the batting position that they're in. Is that the idea?
Except for Denali and Kalina probably switched, but I don't have confirmation on that.
So it was the ground ball that was hit right to Amber DeSena, and that will be ruled an error on Amber, who just came in for Arilee Bogar at second base. Ashley Hamilton now is at third base for Sammy Diaz. Avery Guy is coming in to play short. Avery Guy at short here in the top of the 5th inning. And at the plate, Peyton Gladder for Nebraska. She 0 for 2 on the day. She's got teammates at first and second. Courtney Wallace at first, who just got on an error by Amber DeSena. And Camille Armendariz at second base. Nobody out. Foul back behind the backstop. Nebraska leading this game 3-0. Chipped away at it in that 4th inning, in their 4th at bat to score the first 3 runs. The outfield looks to be the same for the Hawks. It's got Sheehy in left, Klosterman in center, and Nia Carter in right field. Here is the 2-2 with an off-speed pitch that Glatter will just hang on to. She gets the bat around just to foul it. Glatter, a .219 hitter. Now 16 of 75 at bats to date. Here is the 2-2 to her that she'll take a swing at and miss. So that's the first out of the inning. It is the fourth strikeout for Lauren Shaw, but the first strikeout of Nebraska batters since the second inning. We're 3 at-bats later. So that'll bring up the left-handed hitting Caitlin Neal, the freshman. Here's one that she'll take a whack at and foul it down the left field line. She's down on the count at no balls and 1 strike. Neal 0 for 2 on the day. Bounced one back to Lauren Shaw in the circle and then struck out on her first at-bat. Actually was prior to the strikeout of Glatter moments ago, was the last strikeout for Lauren Shaw. A nice off-speed pitch across the plate, and it's strike 2 on Caitlin Neal. Again, Caitlin Neal was named the preseason Big Ten Newcomer of the Year by D1 Softball. Here is an off-speed pitch. She almost went after it and doesn't, and it falls off the outside part of the plate. So it's a ball and 2 strikes now on the freshman, Caitlin Neal. Freshman out of Dewey, Arizona. Runners at first and second, 1 gone. Nebraska leads this game 3-0. Here is the 1-2 that she'll bounce to Grace Baines. Baines across the diamond, Avery Guy makes a nice play at it on the ground ball, and she'll throw out Caitlin Neal at first base. So 2 outs. The runners advance to second and third. Wallace will be at second, and Camille Armendariz at third. Abby Squire will step to the right-handed batter's box, singled in her last at-bat and scored. Has teammates at first and second. And a pitch that's up and in on her, so it's a ball and no strikes. Abby Squire, another freshman, left fielder. Here's an off-speed pitch. It's that inside corner right across the plate. Nice pitch by Lauren Shaw. So quickly down on the count. Well, let's say it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Here is the 1-1 that that Squire will take a whack at and foul it. Squire yesterday against Allison Ducey, she grounded out twice to Grace Baines at short. Down on the count of the ball and 2 strikes to Lauren Shaw. The 1-2, an off-speed pitch right to Avery Guy. Nice glove, good toss across the diamond to Kalena Burns. Well, that'll end Nebraska in the top of the 5th inning. They get a couple on. Can't add to their already 3-0 lead. We'll head into the bottom of the 5th inning. It'll be Ashley Hamilton, Amber DeSena, 8 and 9, and then the top of the order when play continues. Nebraska 3, Iowa 0. So Ashley Hamilton will lead it off for the Hawks in the bottom of the 5th inning. Iowa now having to climb that mountain, trailing 3-0. 3 runs in Nebraska's top of the 4th inning. A couple of errors, though, by the Hawks allowed those runs to score. And that put the Hawks in a predicament. But they have 3 at-bats for sure. So no balls and 1 strike on Ashley Hamilton now, talking to assistant coach Trina Prater. What happened? So Trina Prater, I think it has to do with the batting order, perhaps. So Amber DeSena is at the plate. It should have been Ashley Hamilton, because Diaz did not bat in the last at bat. Well, we'll see where we're at this point. So Amber DeSena now will be at the plate. She is batting for Airly Bogar in the number 9 spot. Here is the first pitch to her. Apparently, she'll assume the strike that was thrown to Ashley Hamilton. Maybe that's the trade-off. There was a number of substitutions for the Hawks in that field in the top of the 5th. Here is Amber DeSena taking a good cut at it. Amber played a couple of games in the Rutgers series. Started on Friday's game at second base. And then Sunday's game at second base. Sunday's game, she scored a run after she walked. That was game number 4. She's down on the count here at a ball and 2 strikes. Here's a pitch that she'll bounce right over to Cam Ybarra. And Ybarra able to pick it up and throw out Amber DeSena. 1 out in Iowa's bottom of the 5th inning. This will be Ashley Hamilton now batting. Coming in to play third base for Sammy Diaz. Here is the first pitch to her from Courtney Wallace. So did they swap the order then? They had to. Okay. Okay, I see what they did. So they moved Ashley Hamilton to the number 9 spot for Airly Bogar. DeSena batting for Sammy Diaz in the number 8 spot. And 1 out. We're in the bottom of the 5th inning. 3-0 the lead for the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Courtney Wallace has been good in the circle for Nebraska. She's just surrendered 1 hit to the Hawks. Iowa has committed 4 errors in this game. Here is the 1-1 to Ashley Hamilton. She takes a swing at and misses. Ashley started in the Rutgers series, the first game of the doubleheader at third base, had 1 official at bat. Back in the first game of that doubleheader, which was game number 2. Here is the 1-2 that she'll foul back into the backstop. She struck out twice. She did, and then was substituted for by Avery Guy in the bottom of the 5th inning, but Iowa went on to win that game 9-1 in 5 innings. At the game that first of 5 innings that Alice Adusi would pitch. Here's the pitch that's fouled again and right at the home plate, and so Ashley Hamilton remains in the circle. Ashley has had quite a bit of playing time for the Hawks. Last year in the pandemic-ended season, she had started 6 games, had 3 hits and 18 at-bats, pinch hit in a number of those. Here is the 1-2 again that's down off the plate. Good eye by Ashley to not go after that pitch. Back in 2019, she started 34 games. And had 13 hits and 76 at-bats. Evens account here at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Ashley Hamilton, also from Cedar Rapids, Kennedy. Same place that Kaylin Kinney is from. I think that Ashley Hamilton had already graduated from Kennedy by the time Kaylin Kinney had gotten into high school. Count even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Here it is. Ashley again will foul it into the backstop. Going head-to-head here with Courtney Wallace. Wallace throws a good hard pitch. 1 out in Iowa's bottom of the 5th inning. Amber DeSena grounded out to Cam Ybarra at second base. Here's Ashley Hamilton with a 2-2 pitch from Courtney Wallace again. And it's one that Ashley will rip off the glove of Brooke Andrews at third base. She's around first, heading to second base with a stand-up double. Nice piece of hitting by Ashley Hamilton. Went with the pitch down the left field line. Brooke Andrews able to reach up, get a glove on it, but she couldn't. She had to just reach up there and do the best she can in the short time she had to react to it. It rolled down the left field wall, being chased out there by Abby Squire, and as Squire was getting to it, Ashley Hamilton around first base and on her way to second with a stand-up double. So with 1 out, Brody Klosterman now will step to the batter's box. 0 for 1 on the day. She walked in her first at-bat, was stranded at third when the Hawks had the bases loaded in the bottom of the first inning. Brody, the reigning Big Ten co-freshman of the week for her performance at Rutgers last weekend, but also I think the body of work all season long has gotten her to this point. She looks at a pitch that's out and away from her. Yesterday she was 2 for 3, so she extended that hitting streak to 3 games, but has hit safely in 7 of the last 8. Here is the 1-0 to her. That's now 2 balls and no strikes from Courtney Wallace. Hawks finally mounting a threat again after getting the bases loaded back in the bottom of the first inning. They put a runner on in the second, didn't move her. Put a runner on in the fourth, couldn't move her. Now they got a runner at second base and 1 out. Ashley Hamilton is at second, and Brody Klosterman at the plate. Here's the 2-0 from Courtney Wallace, called strike 1 on the outside corner. Getting some encouragement from head coach Renee Gillespie down the third base line. 2-1 on the freshman from North Liberty. Courtney Wallace getting the pitch signal from the dugout now. Here's the windup in the pitch, one that Brody will foul back behind the backstop. That evens the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Brody has started and played in all 37 games for the Hawks this year. Here is one. She'll bounce right to Brooke Andrews at third. Hit it right at her, and it's going to be an error on Brooke Andrews. It was a hard hopper right at her. She tried to play the short hop to her. She got a glove on it, but it bounced away from her, and that will allow Brody Klosterman to get to first base. Ashley Hamilton can't move from second. So with 1 out, the Hawks have runners at first and second, and Riley Sheehy steps to the plate. Riley on the day hit by a pitch and grounded to Ybarra at second base on an 8-game hitting streak with yesterday's 2 for 3 performance. See if she can't continue that here today with a single here. Here's a pitch that's down and away, so it's 1 ball and no strikes. Runners at first and second for the Hawks. Brody Klosterman at first. Ashley Hamilton at second. Riley Sheehy at the plate, the left-handed hitting Sheehy, the junior out of Newtown, Pennsylvania. 1 out and 1 ball and no strikes. Here's the 1-0 from Courtney Wallace. A pitch that's Roddy will try to stab at with the bat, and she knocks it foul. So it evens the count at 1 ball and a strike. See See if the Hawks can't keep this seriousness going in this at-bat. Just a little pause here for the moment. Riley steps back into the left-handed batter's box, and she's ready to go. As is Courtney Wallace. Here's the 1-1 from Wallace. And it's one that Riley bunts again, and this time it bunts it foul. And we'll see if she continues to try to bunt here or swing away at it. Courtney Wallace really throws a hard pitch. It'd be interesting to see what the speed of those pitches are. Not sure I've seen anybody this year that has pitched with the same speed. Don't know that Megan Bobine has that, or Starako from Michigan. Amber Pfizer perhaps from Minnesota. Here's the 1-2 to Riley Sheehy, a pitch that she'll bounce right to Brooke Andrews. She steps on third and doubles off. Riley Sheehy running around to first base. What a play by Brooke Andrews. Except for the error that she committed, but the ball was hit right at her. She was just a step away from third. The big high hopper she gets, steps on third across the diamond to first, and that'll double up the Hawks and end their bottom of the 5th inning. We're through 5. Nebraska continues to lead 3-0 heading into the top of the 6th inning. So in Iowa baseball, they've moved into the bottom of the 6th inning. Iowa now leads Penn State 4-1. Bottom of the 6th inning. There's 1 out. Iowa put 3 on in the bottom of the 2nd. 1 in the bottom of the 5th. Here's one that just gets out of the reach of Amber DeSena at second base for Peyton Huscroft. And now a pinch runner coming in for Peyton Huscroft. It is looks like Sarah Yoakum, perhaps. Rhonda Revelle talking to the home plate umpire, making the switches. Nebraska leads us 3-0. Brooke Andrews now is running for Peyton Huscroft. Top of the 6th inning. Nebraska leads at 3-0. First pitch to Annie Rayleigh is a strike. Now it's no balls and 2 strikes. Rayleigh, a .275 hitter, is 1 for 2 today. RBI single. Part of that 3-run 4th. Here's a pitch that's called strike 3. A nice off-speed pitch by Lauren Shaw. Strikeout number 5 for the lefty. And it's 1 out. Brings up the top of the order in Billy Andrews. Reached on an error in her last at-bat, an RBI error. Actually, she's been on base twice now with 2 errors on Hawkeye infielding. And she has struck out. Has a teammate in Brooke Andrews, that would be older sister Brooke, at first base. Here is the first pitch from Lauren Shaw. It's ball 1. Billy Andrews, a .305 hitter coming into the game today. Again, 0 for 3. Here is one that's lifted right into right center field. Nobody can get to it. Brody Klosterman doing the best of any of them, racing to get it, and it's a base hit for Billy Andrews. Moves Sister Brooke up to second base with one out, and it's Kaylin Kinney at the plate. Kinney, as we noted, part of that sensational freshman squad that they have, was 4 for 5 with 3 home runs and 4 runs scored and 6 RBIs. And her 2 starts in the field. In Game 3 against Maryland last weekend, she had a couple of home runs, and she also was pitching that same game. Here is the 1-0 that now becomes 2 balls and no strikes. In the Maryland series, again, 4 for 5 in the series with 3 home runs, 4 runs scored, 6 RBIs, 4 for 4 in Game 3 with those 3 home runs. They're back-to-back-to-back at bats. Here's one that is lifted foul. So the Hawkeye defense at this point is Ashley Hamilton at third, Avery Guy playing short, Amber DeSena at second base, and Kalena Burns now playing first base. Marissa Peak behind the plate, Lauren Shaw in the circle with Riley Sheehy in left, Brody Klosterman in center, Nia Carter in right. Here is the pitch that is fouled on the first base line by Kaylin Kinney. Count remains the same at 2 balls and 2 strikes. 1 out in the top of the 6th inning. Courtney Wallace has done a nice job with the Hawks, limiting them to 2 hits to date. Here is the 2-2 that is hit right to Ashley Hamilton. Scoops, picks it up at steps on third base for the force, but can't get Kaylin Kinney running down the first baseline. So Kinney on by fielder's choice. Nice play by Ashley Hamilton to get Brooke Andrews at third base on the force out. It does move Billy Andrews to second, puts Kinney at first, and with 2 outs, it brings up Cam Ybarra. Ybarra singled in her last at-bat, is 2 for 3 on the day with a double in her first at-bat. Here's the first pitch to her, an off-speed pitch called strike 1. Nice pitch by Lauren Shaw. Get things started. Hawks trailing at 3-0. Nebraska's been able to put pressure on in their last 3 at-bats, scoring 3 of them in the 4th. Here's one out into right field to Nia Carter. She'll fire it to look like it was trying to go home, but Kalena Burns would cut it off. And scoring from second base is Billy Andrews on the single by Cam Ybarra. She 3 for 4 on the day. That moved up Kaylin Kinney to second base. At the 9th hit of the afternoon for Nebraska, or of this game. 3rd here in this at-bat. And it brings up Courtney Wallace. Wallace got on her last at-bat due to error. She doubled and scored in her second at-bat, struck out in her first at-bat. Here's the 1-0 that now becomes 1 ball and 1 strike. We're still in the top of the 6th inning. Nebraska has added to its 3-0 lead to make it 4-0. Got a ball and a strike on Courtney Wallace, the junior pitcher for the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Here is the 1-1 short hopper to Ashley Hamilton, who gathers it and across the diamond to end Nebraska in this top of the 6th inning, but they get another run, make it 4-0 heading into the bottom of the 6th inning. Nia Carter, the number 3 hitter in the lineup, will get it started for the Hawks when play resumes.
Scheduled for 3 p.m. will now begin at 7. Saturday's doubleheader on May 15th will still begin at 1. And Sunday, May 16th, was scheduled for noon, will now begin at 3. But please visit HawkeyeSports.com for the full schedule and updated game time.
So Courtney Wallace has done an excellent job in the circle for the Nebraska Cornhuskers, limiting the Hawks to 2 hits. Those coming on a double by Ashley Hamilton and a single by Grace Baines. Although Iowa has had other runners on base, they've had 7 players on base, but no runs to show for it. That'll bring up Nia Carter, sophomore out of Rancho Cucamonga, California. She looks at a pitch that's down and in on her, so it's ball 1. Nia 0 for 2 on the day, 267 hitter, 31 of 118 at this point. 2 doubles and a triple to her credit. Up at the count of the ball and a strike. Here's one that's up and in on her, so it's 2 balls and no strikes on that sophomore, Nia Carter. Nia earlier this year has been a part of a couple of the wins the Hawks have that went to extra innings. That a walk-off single in the bottom of the 7th to defeat Ohio State, scoring both Ashley Hamilton and Lindy Milkowski. Here's one that's bounced just in front of the plate. Can she beat it out? She does not. Very close. Nice play by Courtney Wallace to get there. It was bounced in front of the plate. Courtney Wallace quickly from the circle to pick it up and get the speedy Nia Carter down the first base line. One gone, and Denali Lecker now will step to the plate. Denali on the day is 0 for 1, excuse me. She walked in her first at-bat and was doubled off on a line drive. Here's a pitch that's down and away, so it's 1 ball and no strikes. Denali saw her batting average up to about 346 prior to the Rutgers series, had 1 hit in the Rutgers series, albeit a 3-run home run. Here's the 1-0 from Courtney Wallace, one that's right off of the glove of the first baseman, Peyton Huscroft. And Denali Lecker on with a base hit. Kalena Burns now will step to the batter's box, the right-handed batter's box. I think we're just kind of all waiting for this Iowa lineup to explode like they did a weekend ago against Rutgers when they scored 34 runs on 35 hits. Been a little different with this Nebraska group. Burns 0 for 2 on the day. Ground out and a pop-up. Here is the first pitch from Courtney Wallace. It's down and in. So it's 1 ball and no strikes on Kalena Burns, sophomore from Corona, California. Had a minor 4-game hitting streak going in the last game with Minnesota through the first 3 games of the Rutgers series. Here is the 1-0 that she'll rocket right at Billy Andrews. The relay from short to second, and the double play is made to end the Hawks in this bottom of the 6th inning. So after getting a runner on a single by Denali Lecker, Kalena Burns will bounce into a double play. And we'll end the Hawks in the bottom of the 6th inning. We're through 6. We head into the top of the 7th inning. Nebraska leads this game 4-0. And we'll have the number 5 hitter Peyton Glatter at the plate when play continues. So we head into the top of the 7th inning. Here's a shot right at Avery Guy. Takes it off of the shoulder. And the throw a little bit to the left of Kalena Burns, who comes off the bag, but makes the tag on Glatter for the first out. Caitlin Neal will now be at the plate. Caitlin is 0 for 3 on the day, grounded out at her last at-bat. Bounced one back to Lauren Shaw in the circle in her second at-bat and struck out back at the top of the 2nd inning. Nebraska leading this game 4-0, scoring 3 times in the 4th, 1 more in the 6th. And Courtney Wallace really has shut down the Iowa Bats here in this second game. Here is the 0-1. It's now no balls and 2 strikes on the off-speed pitch by Lauren Shaw. Here's the 0-2. Pitch that's lifted to the infield. Ashley Hamilton right at third base makes the catch. 2 outs in Nebraska's top of the 7th inning. Abby Squire, who is 1 for 3 on the day, will step into the right-handed batter's box. Squire singled and scored back in the 4th. Part of that 3-run 4th inning. Here's the first pitch from Lauren Shaw. And it's one that Squires gets around on, but she'll hit it fouled on the third base line. Squire, the freshman, who was a state shot put champion in track and field her junior year in high school. Selected softball over track and field. Playing at the University of Nebraska. Here is the 0-1. That's now no balls and 2 strikes. Lauren Shaw again be able to spot those pitches. And is ahead in the count at no balls and 2 strikes on the freshman Abby Squire from Lincoln. Here is the 0-2. That's an off-speed pitch that's well high. Squire doesn't chase it, so it's a ball and 2 strikes. Clouds beginning to overtake the skies. It was partly cloudy when we got started. Now that rain is beginning to head this way. It's going to arrive somewhere between 4 and 5. Here's one down the third base line. That is foul, so the count remains the same at a ball and 2 strikes. Yep, the radar has it not too very far away at this point. Here's the 1-2 from Lauren Shaw, and it hits Abby Squire. So she'll head down to first base after being hit by a pitch. Bring up Peyton Huscroft. She singled in her last at-bat. Got on an error in her second at-bat and scored, and she bounced out to Sammy Diaz in her first at-bat. So she is 1 for 3 on the day. Teammate Huscroft at second base. Here's one that's lifted up into the infield. Kalena Burns makes the catch. Drops it at the circle on the way by, and that will end Nebraska in the top of the 7th inning. The Hawks need 4 to extend and 5 to win in this at-bat. As we head into the bottom of the 7th inning, it'll be Avery Guy to begin things off when play continues. Nebraska 4, Iowa nothing. Hey, Sam. It's about 45 minutes away. At the 5th annual Golden Herkies ceremony, Luca Garza and Laulaga Tausaga were named the University of Iowa Athletes of the Year. Congratulations to them. Both are All-Americans in their respective sport. Luca, of course, in men's basketball, claimed the Naismith Award this year, and Laulaga in the women's track and field program with head coach Woody. Track and field is at Wisconsin this weekend. Today, as a matter of fact, in the Big Ten Invitational, field events began at noon, running events at 2 o'clock. You can follow that live at HawkeyeSports.com/track live. So Avery Guy steps to the plate for the Hawks. Here is the first pitch from Courtney Wallace. Avery Guy coming into the game with a 83 batting average, 1 in 12, 1 hit in 12 at bats. Up in the count at 1 ball and no strikes. Here's one that she'll take a cut at and foul it down the third base line. So it evens the count at a ball and a strike. A year ago, in the pandemic-shortened season, Avery had 7 hits and 43 at-bats, started 19 games of the 22 played, all at third base. Not all but one. She started at shortstop that game. Here is the 1-1 that's down and in. Bottom of the 7th inning, the Hawks need 4 to tie, 5 to win. They only do it one batter at a time, one base runner at a time, and one runner across the plate at a time. See if we can't get a rally going here and do it. Here is the 2-1 that Avery will hit right to Brooke Andrews at third base. And that will end this at-bat for Avery Guy. Brings up Marissa Peak. Marissa in her last at-bat hit a line drive right at Billy Andrews at shortstop. She's 0 for 2 and reached on an error in her first at-bat. Here is the first pitch from Courtney Wallace. It's called strike 1. No balls and 1 strike on Marissa Peak, the freshman out of Wentzville, Missouri. Here's the 0-1 tour that she'll bounce just in front of the circle, scooped by Courtney Wallace onto first base, and that's 2 gone in Iowa's bottom of the 7th inning. Amber DeSena now will head to the right-handed batter's box, replacing Arely Bogar. Back in the top of the 5th inning at second base, getting her first at bat in this contest. Here's the first pitch to her from Courtney Wallace that's off the plate. Amber got into a couple games in the Rutgers series. Started at second base on Friday and the game on Sunday. 0 for 2 on Friday, 0 for 1 on Sunday, but she did score a run. She got on a walk. As they head on the count at 1 ball, no strikes. Here is one that is called fair, right down the first base line. Right over top of first base, enough to make it a fair ball as it then landed out in foul territory beyond first base, but the home plate umpire right there on top of it. So Amber DeSena with a 2-out single for the Iowa Hawkeyes. And it brings up Ashley Hamilton. Hamilton doubled in her last at-bat. Could use one of those right here in this at-bat as well. Left-handed hitting Hamilton, the senior out of Cedar Rapids, prepping at Kennedy. Here is the first pitch to her that's down and away. Ball 1. 2 outs in Iowa's bottom of the 7th. Iowa trailing 4-0. Amber DeSena with a 2-out single. Try maybe to get this rally going. And now Rhonda Ravel will come out from the dugout. Rhonda in her 30th season with the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Won her 1,000th game earlier this year. They've had some pretty good teams. They made it to the College World Series back in 2013. So it's been more than competitive. She's been able to get some terrific athletes to come to the University of Nebraska. They're usually fairly good in most sports, especially football for the longest time. Been struggling a little bit here recently. Men's and women's basketball. So that conversation has ended. When play resumes, Ashley Hamilton will have a 1-0 count on her. 2 outs. With Amber DeSena at first base. Here's the 1-0 from Courtney Wallace, one that Ashley will dribble right to Billy Andrews at short. She steps on second base, and that will end the Hawkeyes here in the bottom of the 7th inning. Nebraska will take game number 2 by the score of 4-0. Now we do hope we can get the second game in, at least get it started anyway. The rain doesn't seem to be too far away at this point. It won't be very pleasant when it gets here because it'll be cold. The wind will pick up. And those people sitting out, if they don't bring any rain gear, are going to get wet. So it was a great pitching performance by Courtney Wallace. She gave up only 4 Hawkeye hits. Nebraska would score 4 runs itself on 9 hits, but Iowa also committed 4 errors, lending that to some of the runs that were scored by Nebraska. So Nebraska now will run its record to 21-17. Iowa also at 21-17, so they fall back into a tie for 6th place in the Big Ten. We'll give you a start time for game number 2. It's been about a half hour, a little bit before the hour of 2 o'clock. See if they don't move that up a little bit more due to the fact that the rain is coming. But we'll see what happens. 4-0 the lead for Nebraska over Iowa. They've split the series at this point at a game apiece. The second game of the doubleheader coming up here in a little bit. Game number 3 of the series. Game 4 is expected for tomorrow. 4-0 Nebraska over Iowa.
pre-pandemic. We are excited to welcome them back to Pearl Field to recognize them for their contributions to the Iowa softball program. Now, these women put on countless hours on the field, in the classroom, and in our community. They have and continue to represent the University of Iowa and the Iowa softball program with dignity and pride. Not with us today is Leah Thompson. Leah wore number 7 and primarily saw action at second base. The Indianapolis native appeared in over 100 games in her Iowa career. Hawk fans, Leah Thompson. Leading things off in person today is Haven Montier. Haven is from Boonville, Missouri. The outfielder started 16 games last year. She finished the season with a .342 batting average and was second on the team in stolen bases. There's no doubt Haven would have had a strong senior season. She made major contributions from her freshman year until her senior year. Haven will graduate next week with a Bachelor of Science in Human Physiology and a minor in Human Relations. She will be applying to physical therapy school this summer with hopes of starting classes in the fall. Hawk fans, put your hands together for Haven Montier. The Rath family is truly a Hawkeye family. Her mother, Amy, played softball at Iowa, and her father, Alan, played baseball for the Hawks. Number 23, Alex Rath, a native of Kelowna, Iowa. In her senior season, she appeared in 15 games. During her junior campaign, she appeared in 30 games, scoring 8 runs. Alex saw action in almost 100 games during her career as a Hawkeye and was a constant threat as a pinch runner. The Rath family, a Hawkeye family. Her mother, Amy, played softball at Iowa, and her father, Alan, played baseball for the Hawks. Alex will graduate with a degree in psychology and pre-occupational therapy. Hawk fans, please put your hands together for Alex Rath. Next is Liz Watkins. Liz is from Midwest City, Oklahoma. You may remember number 19 being announced as Liz DeShields during her playing days. Her and her husband Caleb were married last August. Liz transferred to Iowa from Marshall and immediately made an impact. During her career as a Hawkeye, she saw action in 54 games. Liz is currently working toward her master's in healthcare administration at Oklahoma State while working at Stillwater Medical Center Hospital. She graduated from the Iowa University with a bachelor's in health and human physiology and a minor in human relations. Liz wanted to share that she will always be an advocate for women in sports and will cherish her time, teammates, and coaches at Iowa for the rest of her life. Hawk fans, it's Liz Watkins. One more time, let's give it up for our 2020 seniors, Haven, Liz, and Alex.
For those of you still online here for Hawkeye Radio Network YouTube channel, the second game of the doubleheader today has been canceled. It will be played tomorrow as part of a doubleheader beginning at noon. So the second game today will not be played. It'll be tomorrow beginning at noon as part of a doubleheader. Thank you.